Okay. Friedrich, hello to Germany. How are you?
Oh, I'm really fine, thank you. Yeah, as you know, and the others don't, I had a trade-off. I'm eating with my family or being here. So we ordered in and I'm here.
That's why I selected you to go first, you know? I'm being
Oh, thank
accountable.
you. Thank you. So, I don't really know how I framed the question I have, but the situation I'm in is I'm responsible for the positioning of our company, and we are a service business, and it's really hard to position a service business. And I'd like to um, go solo eventually because I want to hone my craft. I want to get really good at what I do, and I think being a solo consultant, um, the benefit of being a solo consultant is I can niche in and I can do the same expertise in different situations in different companies and get better at it. And I'd like to become a consultant for positioning, so for honing the differentiated value for tech products. I have a tech background, and I think it's easier to do it with tech companies. But the big question or the big struggle I experience is that every time I get deeper into the nits and grits of positioning, I see somebody else doing it so much better, and it shouldn't hold me back because it's a service business, and Fletch PMM or April Dunford can't serve the whole market. But every time I feel like an imposter or a copycat because I come up with some positioning exercise and I see Fletch PMM does it the same way or even a little bit better. And yeah, every time I want to put something out there, uh, I don't want to come off it as a copycat. But sometimes my original thoughts are already published by somebody else. So there are so many forces holding me back. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you have a take on that.
I know. I definitely know. So there are a couple of elements that we can untackle here. The first one is just like imposter syndrome, because as you said, April Dunford cannot cater them all. There are nuances, there are regional specifics that we are catering. So it's not like that one player will dominate the market, especially in the service business. So to each their own. I mean, there is space and there is room for everybody. And I literally play with my competitors. Like, I mean, I don't care if Pierre is doing better. I don't care if Alex is doing better. Like, everybody has their own territory, and the cake, the pie is big enough for all of us. So this is just like the first realization that I have, just like in terms of how to cater the competition relationships in the space. Because I feel you, I'm a very competitive person myself, and you want to be the very best, like Pokemon, but nevertheless, it's not always that you could be just like in the top of the field for the global market. What I very much cheer for is just like finding your niche, to being the best you can in the area, in a very special segment that you have selected. And you said that these are tech companies, and tech companies are especially cringe because everybody's talking about features, nobody's talking about benefits, and to get there, we really, really, really need this translation power. And I mean, you work from Germany. Germany is a really strong market. I can just like hook you up with a couple of other German experts if they have other SaaS founders that they would just like need some positioning help with. But my main message here is to really like be more self-confident. So you build confidence by doing, right? Not by reading, not by studying or something like that, by doing extremely well on a use case that you have created. So job number one for me would be to just like differentiate this service business that you work in right now and have a little bit of a case study that you can portray. Later on, you just like ask yourself, can I find 5 more businesses such as this in order to just like scale my services? And I'm not talking this like out of my hat. I have been coaching a positioning expert. Like he was also inspired by April, and he was just like, wow, can I do this better than April? Oh my God. And I was just like, look, European companies have different needs. European companies have different experts that we should be like looking up forwards. And I was just like, Andre, what the fuck? I mean, you do well with your initial business, then we can make a case study out of this. Then we will find like 5 or 10 businesses who will want the same out of you, and then we can scale. This is your roadmap. This is your blueprint. This is how we're going to work. And right now, the guy is working with Germany, with America, like he's all around the space. And this is something that came up gradually, yet it was super important that first we established a solid base. So we had a case study to communicate. Then we were talking about it publicly on LinkedIn on events. And then we did outreach in order to win some additional clients. And that for me, Frederick, would be the best blueprint how to move forward. And just like the way how you're feeling, I mean, I'm feeling imposter syndrome to these days. Like, I mean, am I better than Tiki Kader? Am I better than like Anthony Pieri or something like that? Am I like the best in the class? No, not at everything. But if I display my personality, if I am honest about what I can do, if I am true to my people, then I can definitely serve them. And just like yesterday at the GTM cohort, we had the positioning masterclass. So Andrei came in, I invited him, and he just like rocked the stage with developers, with product managers, with people who are really demanding. And I mean, I gave him 3 pages of feedback. What could we do better? But still, like, people were satisfied with this. So you are your own worst judge. I mean, nobody will hold you against the standards that you hold yourself. So just like build up the proof, do better and better every time that we are doing this, and build from that. I mean, you know, for February, you can just have one goal. Do something good in terms of positioning for your company and write a LinkedIn status about this. Okay, for March, you can have another goal. You can be like, okay, this is what we achieved by implementing this positioning strategy. And if you want to talk about your positioning, maybe we can talk. And from then on, it's really not saying easy, but I mean, it's a process. It's an evolution. So first, show me something. Then can I get like 5 or 10 people who would want to have the same? And then go to service scaling. And this is pretty much it. And I didn't freaking raise my hand. Gurav did. So, Frederick, how do you feel about this answer?
Yeah, that hit close home, especially with the reading books. Like, you reminded me of a quote from Alex Hormozi. Confidence is built up by data points you've done in the
Yeah,
past.
I'm a
So,
Hormozi fan myself. So
oh,
yeah,
it's great.
that could be channeling. Yes.
So, thank you. The thing with the service business, so I don't want to serve service business in the future. So my plan is actually kind of similar to what you suggested. Just pro bono work for 1 or 2 startups. So easier to close companies to build up expertise in the use case, but still there, like I can do some outreach, right? I can grab a list of 50 startups and write them, but there's just some missing confidence in that I can provide value. And I
And the
just
missing
think I have
confidence
to,
is proof.
yeah, I just have to jump over a shadow. I don't know if it's, it was just a German proverb I translated, maybe it's wrong, but I just have to get out there and write them 50 startups or something. Can I help you? And if
Cool.
one answers, I
And
can
just
build
like
up my
build
use case.
confidence upon proof. So I think that you are a logical person. So am I. And you, first of all, have to believe yourself that you can really deliver. So the confidence that you will portray later on comes from your own work and your own experience. So if it doesn't come to anything else, just like go and interview your boss. Interview just like this person who has been done it. I don't care how distant this use case is. Yesterday, really at the cohort, we were addressing like a B2C app in Spain/America, and it was just like off for the majority of B2B companies that were on our cohort. But still, I was just like, you know, if it is your example, if it is so much more profound that if you are talking about Netflix or Apple, you should not be talking about Netflix and Apple and Tesla. These are not your cases. This is the life that you live in, and this is your proprietary experience. So again, like the best proof is to be authentic. But then you can just like reverse it. So if it is difficult to do in terms of service industry, which is super saturated, and we kind of had this evidence, this sort of proof there, of course, I can do the same for product. This is how I was pitching for my book. Because if I can do it for a freaking piece of paper, then for sure I can do it to businesses which are less competitive than like book business on Amazon. And this is like not saying the type of confidence that you should be portraying, but look, Frederick, you should be saying in my face, I am interested in this and this and this stuff. I have like this proof that I have been delivering value for this and this and this client. Now, Maja, can you go and find me 3 additional clients? And I was be, yes, sir. So build your way up to this.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the moment where we salute each other usually.
Thanks, Maja.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And I think, Gurav, you got like similar question, right? You also come from a positioning space.
Yeah, amazing to be here, Maya. Thank you. And
My pleasure.
Frederick, for your vulnerability as well, because I can imagine parts of what you're feeling. And it's an extension of what Frederick is talking about, which is two questions. One is, you see all these competitors on LinkedIn. So how do you engage with them? Do you like stay away, or do you believe in like engaging and partnering with them? So how do you think about that? So that's the first.
Okay.
The second is, when you start off, I mean, with positioning, you have to think about differentiation as well. If there are many people who are doing the same thing, so at what point do you think about it? Because it does become important for somebody who's starting off.
Got it. So the first part of the question, am I playing nicely with others? Yes, as long as they are cool. So as long as they are not douchebags, are not ignoring me, and are just like not there. So you can definitely piggyback on somebody else's audience. That's a cool strategy. And if you have a smart comment, this is like literally the strategy that will grow your audience. That's important. The second one is I have been interviewing a couple of my competitors and came to a clear differentiation that some of the people like really play nicely, others don't. And if others don't, I don't have to. So if somebody else portrays to be like a complete bullshitter and complete douchebag, hey, why the fuck should I care? I mean, I don't give a shit. It's fine. So just like this reciprocity of the relationship, I always say like give, give, give. And I mean, with Fletch, with Anthony and Rob, we have a beautiful relationship. These have been like book participators with like a couple of competitors like Alex and Bjorn from Germany and Switzerland. We have a beautiful relationship and we share each other's learnings. But some people are just like rotten and we cannot establish this dialogue. Would I prefer to play it nicely? Yes, always, 100%. But if people are morons, I will not. So it's just like, okay, first try to think that like the world is fair and that everybody's here to win and support each other until you learn differently. And then just ignore them. I mean, don't go and bitch on their posts. It's just like a rotten attitude towards this. And I mean, April, for example, with positioning, she's really nice. She has been like responding all my LinkedIn comments. There are like other people such as like Casey Hill or maybe like Anthony Pieri and just like a couple of other guys that are absolutely stunners. They share our value system. So with whom do I work? It's the people that I share my value system with. It's the people like you guys who are here together, like on this session, and we will talk honestly here. I mean, no strings attached, but this is what we feel that it's the best lever how to move forward. And for the second piece of question, it was just like, could you just reframe it for just like the context here?
Yeah, Maya. So at some point you have to think about differentiation, right?
Yes.
Because
Okay.
what I do know is in service business, you're essentially scaling with time. At some point, you have to quote unquote productize yourself. So I'm not talking about that far, but even at the service business, how do you know where to play? And when do you answer the question?
Okay, cool. And I do think this is relevant for Frederick and Jure and a couple of other people on this call as well. So I always come from my strong points, right? I always try to play on what I have been doing before. And usually it comes down to just like, okay, I serve this business really well. How can I find the next like 5 or 10 businesses who would like to be the same? As well, I'm being like a little bit ambitious, a little bit like progressive about my thinking here. And I would just like think to not pretend. I mean, it's very difficult for me as well because I'm reading Substack from Lenny, I'm reading Substack from Leah, and I mean, the bar is high. But I know the only way how I can win this game is to be authentic because nobody has my experience. Nobody has like been giving speeches in Bosnia, Kosovo, Albania, and Serbia, and like when stakes are really, 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 really like bet against you. So this is type of a reality that I'm trying to portray here. So I cannot pretend that I have been working in like a Silicon Valley startup. I have never been there. I mean, I've never been to the US per se, but just like to harvest from your own reality and just like to talk to people who are maybe 3 to 6 months view behind you. I mean, this is probably the sweet spot that we can get. So if I would be here and saying, hey, this is how you should win Heineken accounts, this is how you should be winning like, oh, you would be probably repulsed. If I'm here to just like say to you, this is how you win your next big like 3K contract a month or something like that, then we can talk because this is our shared reality. And again, it comes down to selecting just like your target audience, where you're at right now. And don't pretend to be something that you are not, because people will see through you. This is the transparency of the market that we are right now. I mean, always think big, think ahead, hustle a little bit, but for your ground base, I mean, what are the other businesses who would like to have the same as I have created right now? And always when it comes to just like education and inbound services, I'm building on the problems that I have actually seen in my consulting life, right? So I'm not just like, oh, this should be like the next best framework that should be done in this specific field. I'm just, okay, my clients have been struggling with this problem. This is how we logically intercept it in order to create better frameworks for this. And just like by being yourself, by being authentic, there is always somebody who's ahead, but there are thousands of people who are behind. And it's easily to just like obsess yourself with people who are ahead, especially if you are like a little bit more competitive like I am. But nevertheless, it will only do you damage. So be happy for them, try to learn from them, try to recognize the patterns, what they are doing good, try to just like interfere with them, and that's freaking it. I have no other words how to describe it.
Thanks, Maya. Just as a quick extension,
You're
when you
making the
say,
best out of our time here, yes.
Maya, you can tell me to shut up at some point, and I will.
It's fine. It's fine. I like you a lot.
Thank you. Um, if you have one client in a particular industry, domain, and you're looking for similar clients, it becomes tricky because essentially you position them to win in the market and you're going to a potential competitor, right? So how are you thinking about that, especially in like contract legal agreements, about working with quote unquote competitors?
Yes and no. So for example, this summer, we created 12 million pipeline in just like one outreach campaign, and it was done for solar panels / heat pumps. And it was a really weird campaign. I mean, I was just like, what the fine kudos, salute, Jaka, she did such an amazing job on that one. But nevertheless, okay, whereas it is not fair to a client to just like poach the same players on a similar market, I am very, very, very eager to just like exploit adjacent markets. For example, people who are selling like any sort of other heating systems, people who are selling like solar panels abroad or something like that. Because what it comes down to is the principle of proximity, right? If you have done somebody good, then it is very, very, very much more likely that you can replicate this success before you move to another end. And just like if you think about this as a blueprint for your business, so first we need a safety net. We need like 5K or 10K a month in order to make this happen, to maybe like add other people to our businesses or just like invest in whatever the hell we want in our personal lives. That's fine. So we need a little bit of safety net. The second step is just like thinking about how can we create the leverage. And we always come down to, okay, I did this, how we could be doing more of this for like other adjacent clients. And I mean, for me, it's very clear if I'm betraying a client or not. I would never, ever, ever go and like pitch a direct competitor because that would literally jeopardize me, right? If they know about this, then I will be out anyway. So I would never hold myself in this position in the first place. But when it comes to adjacent markets, just like who else could benefit from the same type of principles, or if there is anybody on the foreign market or something like that, then I can really play and double down on my strengths. I know it's difficult to navigate. I know the answers are not always simple, but you will know it when you are in this situation. Does it feel like betrayal? Does it feel that you are like leaking IP to a competitor, or are you just growing your business? It's more of a gut feeling in my universe.
One of the challenges, Maya, to what Frederick was talking about.
This is turning to a freaking podcast. Okay, the last question. I give you the last question, then we will call somebody else. Okay?
Yes.
Go.
And
I appreciate you though. You're very proactive. I like this.
thank you. It's actually an extension of what Frederick asked, which is a challenge I face, when I've been in big tech in companies, and essentially when it comes to performance reviews, you're just competing with like 10 other PMs or PMMs. And then suddenly when you go into the service market, it's global and everybody's skills is transparent, right? On LinkedIn, at least that's what I feel. And so it feels like it's competition, but it isn't. So I'm curious how you deal with that from a mindset point of view.
I really don't. I don't give a shit what other people are doing, because for me the pipe is literally large enough for everybody, and everybody like can have a piece. The pie is only growing in the long term. So when it comes to positioning, I mean, it's really, really, really hard to be the person who never gives up. And it's really, really hard to be the person who's always growing. So I kind of framed that my job is to be there and defend my position every single day. Like to be hyper transparent about what I am doing and to show the results from it. Sometimes if I cannot, I can go back and I can be better and I can improve myself. And that's really not the problem. But just like from the basic framing, from the first principle, thinking about this is just like, look, if you find a couple of clients who share your background and share your vertical and say, look, I did this for this client. Would you like to have the same? Okay, pay me 2,000 euros. Why not? I mean, if you do this 10 times, you will get one client. It's not a problem. It's not that difficult. And just like it's more of the staking from how we are going there. So yeah, of course, like I cannot be as good as freaking Chris Walker at the moment, even though I'm very happy to grow there sometimes. And I mean, I'm trying to work with him. I sent him like 4 messages already. We already record a podcast. So this is my aspiration. This is what I'm trying to do. And I mean, I will always try and do additional stuff in order to get there. Am I there yet? Fuck no. But nevertheless, I will try and I will keep on building piece by piece and never give up until I can get there. And, you know, when you are entering the global stage, you have a little bit of levers yourself. What really helped me in my career was when we invited Sean Ellis to join us in our country. This was a game changer for me because, okay, we paid like 16K in order to be there. I had a partner in order to sponsor this event. But from this on, like my pipeline from this specific event was 30K. Was that a good ROI? Yes, ma'am. It was. It was really, really, really good one. So until you build the confidence and just like this wiggle room, playroom to play around, you go step by step. You literally go step by step and case by case in order to do that. And I'm sure that you can get there, but it's a long game. It's not something that you can do like week by week. It's something that you have to do and show up consistently every single day with a little bit of higher expectation, but also self-love. Not saying that like, okay, now Chris is getting more likes on LinkedIn than I do, so I'm a piece of shit and I should probably give up. No, the game is different. The game is to show up every day, to do the best you can, to learn from feedback loops and just like from go to there. And this is not saying like the long way how you win the race, but hey, I don't ever want to coach my people to be like believers in silver bullets or something like that. I believe in habits. I believe in rituals. I believe in consistency. I believe in discipline. This is what I teach. Okay, so Gurav is out of questions. Frederick said, thank you. Gurav, by the way, you're a brother. Thank you so much for kicking this off. Right now, I would love to invite whoever else just like has a question who would benefit from this conversation because, guys, I'm here for you tonight. Whatever you are interested in, I hope that you felt that I'm being really honest and like really here for you.
Well, I'll
Go,
go. I think I'll
Clicia.
bring another, I think I'll bring
Go,
another
go, go.
energy because I'm not a product marketer or product manager. I'm a founder. I live in Brazil and sorry, I'm from Brazil and I live in the US in Washington, DC. And I'm just starting my go-to-market strategy now. I'm getting lots of help. I'm starting to read Maya's book and trying to figure out what to do. And sorry, there's just a lower hand thingy that's coming up here. Let me just lower my hand.
No worries.
Yeah.
I was making
And
emojis with my hands, you know, so
Huh.
that's weirder.
And I have a huge question, which is
Go.
stalling me for a while, which is I have 2 clients in Brazil right now, but I live in Brazil in the US for the majority of the time. So I'm in the US for 9 months of the year. And I don't know how to set up the strategy. I'm a B2B founder. I sell mentoring programs in a consultancy and tech based to big companies, so mostly multinationals, companies that have more than $500 million of revenue. And being on the B2B space, I understand that I need to position myself on LinkedIn, and Brazil and the US have different languages. So I'm very confused about how to establish such a strategy, how if I can leverage both and try to do a strategy that takes both markets into account, or if I should just focus on one. And yeah, exactly. Just general questions on how to position myself. The product and the price are already set up, so I know who more or less I can sell to, but where and how to position and promote. It's my main question. Yeah.
Okay. I remember you from LinkedIn. Thank you so much for asking this. And I was just like a little bit puzzled why are we portraying as Brazilians? Because I have this partner, growthhackers.com, and they're portraying themselves as Silicon Valley companies, even though Pedro is from Brazil and he's a brother, like he's a really good friend to me. So it's either like finding your way in through other peers from maybe like Brazilian speaking countries and just like getting a couple of recommendations in order to win a couple of clients in the US if this is not in your portfolio already, or just like, look, I had the same problem because I'm from Slovenia. Slovenia has 2 million people. This is where Melania Trump and Luka Doncic are from. So one, we are proud of. The second one, we are very confused. But nevertheless, I've been there. I've been there, and it's really, really, really difficult to transition to just like saying, okay, these are my guys, these are my peers, this is what I know, into something that like triggers all kind of different shades of imposter syndrome as well as insecurity, right? But I would say to just like establish your portfolio, if you have like 2 clients in Brazil who are firm right now, you just like go and direct like 30% of your time towards like thinking differently and acting towards like US market that you are on to. Your English is perfect. Your English is better than my English. So the thing is that you can definitely present yourself. And as I always say in terms of strategy, so play on your strengths. What are you really good at? Like the nationality and just like this proximity comes later. And I mean, I've been struggling with this myself, and this is like what I talk about really honestly. I don't want to record an audiobook right now because I'm afraid that people are going to recognize my weird accent, right? So I've been dealing with this shit for like the last 4 months, and probably maybe I will need a therapy, who knows, or just like a good friend to talk this over. I know that there are always like limiting beliefs. I know that not everything is really rational, but look, if you can serve a company, a really big like corporations on your Brazil national level, then hell is stopping you towards doing this and like scaling on this? And maybe you will start through just like innovation managers. Innovation managers for me are always one of the best entries into the organizations, because sorry if there is an innovation manager on this call, but I do think that they act like golden retrievers. So they are very hyped, they are very like passionate about new innovations and whatever is going on in the space. So for me, like internal accelerators and just like innovation manager, this is the easiest place to sell, because it's just like, I have this is what's going on, this is the big truth that we have, let's do a workshop together. And I mean, if you just volunteer in a couple of their accelerators, I can like totally connect you with Pedro if you're not in touch yet, because he has like a bunch of different clients and a bunch of like different contacts in the US. So maybe you could have a partner who would give you additional recommendation. But back to my point, it's just like embracing your strengths, not feeling like super limited about your current environment and reality. So definitely not publish the content in Portuguese or something like that, to just like portray yourself to be international. And then just like being very purposeful about, okay, we can leverage, we can like do the proximity stuff, but also this is my big agenda. And like 20% of the time I will work towards my big agenda. So goal number 1 is to be secure, is to be like really good off with whatever you are doing in business, wherever you can make this, that's fine. And then just like to have this wiggle room, have this space in order to build your moonshot. I don't think that this is even a moonshot for you, because you're living there, you are breathing this. And sometimes, you know, playing on your strengths could even mean, look, I'm charismatic, I'm emotional, I know how to express my feelings, I'm more fun than the majority of coordinators that you will ever experience in your boring corporate world. So just like to do a little bit of an introspection. And the best thing that helps me, like this little piece of an exercise that I will leave you with, is just like to ask a couple of clients, what is your superpower? So what is something that they would recommend you for? And for me, it was really weird because the answer for my clients was energy. And I was like, I'm not Crystal, I'm not electricity shock. Like, how the fuck can I sell energy? So that was really, really, really difficult to comprehend for me. But I did this because it's more about like authenticity and feeling this genuine connection with people. And I think that this would be good for you to do. I'm not saying that I'm the smartest here, because you lady have built a business, you have moved to the US, you know everything what there is. The only piece of perspective that I can probably give you is just like, believe in moonshots, save 20% of your time in order to get there, and just fucking go, 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 go for at least 3 months and see what happens, and definitely leverage your Brazilian contacts in order to get there.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I think what really stalled me before Ashna goes, because I think Ashna has some really good insight as well. One thing that stalled me was the market. So in Brazil, it's kind of a blue market. Mentoring is something that's starting now, while in the US it's developed, but not in our. It's still kind of blue for us in the the niche that we're going to place ourselves at. So from what I'm getting from you, it's I want to be global in the future. So I'll focus on that. And then from what I understand, just whoever understands what I'm saying in English, because I'm going to portray myself in English, and people that speak Portuguese are not going to be able to understand. They will be the ones that will be more aligned to my goals regardless. And that's what I should do. Is that, did I understand correctly?
Yeah, and the weird thing about these markets is that if you are established abroad, the local market embraces you more. I mean, it's a really fucked up dynamics, but you know, if you are like there, like Kisia from the US, who has been doing this and that, then like the local market eats you. I mean, it's really, 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 I think it's a double good loop for you. So, okay, I have a client from the US. Now I will tell Brazilians how to get clients from the US and how to conquer this market. I mean, I don't know what is your blueprint, what is your vision, but I'm always like, okay, here, when I started out, it was really tough because there are a lot of like marketing douchebags and agencies who were pushing back. And it was just like this men's world. It was douchebag world. I was like really, really, really taken aback by the attitudes that there is. And then I was again like, it's really tough to be the person who never gives up. So I was very diligent. I was very, very, very vocal on my social media. And I never wanted to portray myself in just like this mold that we have in this market. And to these days, I help young people there. I help people who need help. And I am picking up the cream still if somebody has a serious business down there. But in terms of positioning, I genuinely believe that it is better to go international first, because if nothing else, you can increase your prices that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Just sharing what I did 10 years ago. Cool. Ashna, go, go, go.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Clecia asked an interesting question because I have something very adjacent to that. Like so far, I've done some growth roles in e-commerce and then an e-commerce SaaS, but this is the first time like I've picked out a client who's into the behavioral health space. They're based out of the US, and they run some behavioral health cohorts. And because it's also my first time to do something like autonomously, like working in a setup that's already existing versus actually coming up with saying, no, I'm going to help someone individually. One thing is that feels very, very different. Like also my brain suddenly feeling super overwhelmed about the idea, like a lot of stuff that Frederick also said, like, how do I go about this? But the second question is also like in this space, where they're kind of considering either going to corporates or running like one-to-one cohorts for people in tech because burnout is on the rise and those kind of workshops. Like, I personally don't know how to get started with like GTM. Like, what do you really do to kickstart that? Like those initial building blocks is something that I'm really struggling at almost.
Got it. The answer is really to talk to 12 or 20 people who need this to solve their problems, to really get into the nitty-gritty of this. And I mean, I've been eating my own dog food here. Every time that I tackle like a new business, I talk to a couple of super users. I don't care if they come from like a field of injection molding or canine conditioning or whatever weird vertical that my endeavors take me on. I just want to be like super familiar with their problems and speak their language. This is the rule number one for me. Until you speak with at least like 15 people, you have no clue where you're getting to. So this is job number one for me. The second job is just like to pinpoint the problems that we could solve. Sometimes we are limiting with the product. Sometimes the product cannot solve them, right? So sometimes we really need to narrow down to just like these markets that we can honestly cater. And job number 3 is to put on the Broadway show, is to just like let as many people as possible know that we exist in a language that is comprehensible for them. When it comes to just like how to make this scalable, I would first ask myself, can I solve this problem for 100 people who would recommend at least half of them another people? And then like if product is good, you allegedly don't have a marketing and sales problem. But till the product is good, you need to just like learn from your existing users, be in touch with them as much as you can, and just like portray yourself as this voice of reason of whoever is going to help them scratch this pain, scratch this back. So make sure that you engineer on your personal profile or company profile also kind of like opinion leadership. So when you talk to them, they will see not as a privilege, because that sounds a little bit arrogant, but you know, to really establish this trust. Because what I have been learning in the last few years is that people have tremendous trust issues, right? So why are you, Ashna, the best person for me in order to solve these problems? Like, what does it take in order for me to believe you that you are the best person to do it? Until we can answer these questions, and I mean, I have these questions myself on a daily basis, right? So trying to be better is growth mindset. This is the grounds from which we are thinking. And then when it comes to just like, you know, if a product is cheap, you will probably use paid digital, and you will probably do like a little bit of cold spammy outreach, and you will probably do like a little bit of community building. If product is less than $100, this is the channels that you are usually stuck with in order to secure like the initial traction. However, if the product is more expensive, you could be thinking about some sort of more sophisticated sales approach. You could be thinking about how to invest something in order to make it work, in order to like build demand, and in order to do inbound. So I don't know exactly how to tackle your question, but I would start by just like saying, okay, here we are. This is the exact goal that I have in mind at this moment and how to get there. Like, this is my benchmark in Q1. This is where I want it to be, and what's the easiest, the most secure way how to get this.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty insightful actually. I think you did kind of I think starting from 20-30 calls is definitely probably also would be very helpful insights.
I always do it. Like, people pay me 30K per project, and I still always do it.
Very interesting. Sure. Yeah.
Cool. Jakub, do you want to go next? So that Friedrich is not on the stage all the time, but we will get to everybody. No worries.
Sure.
Jakub, good.
First of all, thanks a lot for your time. I have another question regarding the GTM strategy, because you mentioned in your in the post, I remember everything to write about testing the new acquisition channels, that it takes the channel. We have now like 3,000 from Poland, just I'm on holiday in France, and 2 months for the channel seems a lot, and we are a small team. So I wonder if you have like a formula where we can actually experiment faster to measure specific metrics, to like, okay, we have PPC, but we can also invest time now in affiliation or referral program, right? All of these channels, we know they will bring new users, which means revenue, but like what to focus on first, like how to choose
Okay, the formula
if the
is
channels are not tested yet.
Got it. The formula is very easy. So you spend 80% of time to the channels that work well for your business, and you just do whatever you can in order to make this work. And for 20%, you are experimenting. Usually in a business setup, we count down to like 2 or 3 channels that work incredibly well. These channels are usually very compatible with what competitors are doing. And that's very easy to look like. You have Ghostery, you have similar web, so the majority of channels are pretty much similar. And then if you can find something which is proprietary, like B2B influencers or like weird TikTok strategy or something like that, this is your experimentation field in which you just like invest 20% of your effort. And when it comes to scaling, look, 3,000 users is freaking amazing. I absolutely congratulate you, but I don't think that you are anywhere close to the ceiling of acquiring existing users that you could possibly can. So I usually start by just like either doing different targeting on the existing channels in order to grow the market, or in the same time, I'm trying to learn from users through self-reported attribution. So where did you first hear from us? What was the source or something like that? How to do more stuff such as this, because organic is a bitch. Organic is always a bitch, and it bites our ass because sometimes people hear from us on podcasts, sometimes like we are SEO families or whatever, stuff like that. And organic is like these huge black box that I don't know how to tackle. And for me, it was really, really, really important to observe like what is their self-reported attribution, where do they actually say that they found us first, and then like what are the exit attempts. So what is our offer like not delivering to them? How can we manage to just like do these things better? And these were like 2 critical data points in my terms of work, how we tackle this in order to build better strategies. But when it comes to channels, I always say less is more. Why I'm not on TikTok, why I'm not on YouTube, what I'm not on whatnots, because I don't have time. I don't have time to focus to do this well, because the critical mass in order to just like kick something off is getting higher and higher by the year, because the area is like more saturated. And usually if you are like to B2B SaaS, it's Google Ads, it's just like a little bit of outreach partnerships and like affiliates that you are doing, but majority of affiliates are shit, and you need to cater them as partners even though they don't deliver anything. And the first thing that is very, very, very important for us in B2B is just like at the beginning, before you have like 5,000 users or something like that, I very much believe in like personal growth on LinkedIn. Oh my God, that sounded like the worst. But you know how it is, that the founder is present there. Like, for example, Enzo Vigo is from June.aso. I mean, we recorded a podcast together. You're welcome to listen to it. For me, he's the most reasonable guy ever. And then you go on platforms. So the platforms that literally have some sort of healthy audience, or like the influencers or like other partners, whatnots. So it's just like, again, it's trend system. So first you of course like do organic stuff, and you do communities, and you do like whatever is free. In the second tier, we can just like put on the page channels like Google Ads or whatever else is relevant for your audience, because this is the other piece of research that I usually do. I ask people, where do you find the majority of information that is relevant in order to solve this specific pain point that we are solving. And in the third stage, you're trying to scale this and find just like partnerships and other things. Is there anything else that you want to tell me in order to give you a more specific answer?
That's amazing. I didn't think about, because obviously we use GTMs to measure CS. So we actually measure everything, even the keywords that are coming from, to understand, what. But I didn't think about targeting the organic traffic to ask them, where did you hear about us? Because we actually get free, but I didn't think of asking them about us. So second thing, do you think, because you mentioned that like users who came to visit our website, but they didn't sign up, there needs to be a reason, right? So do you think at this stage, when we are still trying to gather more information in the remarketing campaign, should we actually ask them, why didn't you join, or try to convince them more with, I don't know, lead magnet or something?
Okay, I'm
Ask
losing
them,
the connection
do
a
you think
little
it's
bit.
worth to one instead of trying to get them sign up?
Yeah,
That makes
look,
sense.
I'm losing a connection a little bit, and I think that like it's probably the French thing, because French internet just decided that it will not work because it's too late and they need to have a dinner or something like that. These are French things, but nevertheless, look, start with whatever is easier to do. So to just like drop this exit pulse survey on your website, if you have a decent traffic, this is how you would initially to just like roll out this experiment if you can learn from this. The second one that I like to do is to literally like interview my churned customers. So why did you not decide for my software, for my service, for my solution? Why was the competitor better? Like, let me learn whatever is going on here. So this is like human to human level, but nevertheless, when it comes to just like getting their email or having the offer, which is like less strings attached, which is like a lower consideration point for them, would be okay if you want to mess up with your product a little bit, because nobody will be like raving, hey, here's an ebook where you can find 100 pages in order how to decrease your return rate or whatever. I mean, people need evidence. People are much more sophisticated these days, so the majority of materials we don't even get anymore. So yeah, start small. Start by just like popping up this question, why haven't you decided, what's stopping you, or something like that. The second one would be just like to figure it out with whoever was trying to decide this, what were the reasons, and try to address them. Like try to work on one of these. And then in the third iteration, I would be, okay, if you don't want to buy from me, can I at least get your email?
Now, I don't know very much.
Cool. Alrighty. So we're here for 5 more minutes, and Frederick and Gurav have questions. Is there anybody on the call that would like to say something and haven't had the chance? Because I really want to give everybody a fair chance. Okay, Jure, go. Sorry, guys, you have been speaking before, so right now it's Jure.
I have a quick one. I just have a business idea that involves social media engagement and AI, and I just want to know how is the best way to validate that idea, and also how do you know when to like go fully in when the test is successful? Just more a general question, because I mean,
I don't do general questions, be specific. What are you thinking? What are you trying to
but
achieve?
how is what's the best way to validate the idea that I have? Because I have a decent, like I can picture as my ICP the persona that would need the services, but I don't know exactly how to like actually know if anyone needs.
Okay, Jure, no problem. Pitch me as if you do the service. Try to sell to
Yeah.
me.
So the service is I have an idea that I would automate comments on LinkedIn with AI so that AI would match the way a person responds to other people to a certain degree, and that would just create a lot of extra time for a person. I mean, it would alleviate some time to engage with or engage with more people. So that's the idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell you what we will do. So for the first thing that we will do, we will speak with Ivana Todorovic. She's an author of AuthorApp. This is like a LinkedIn automation tool, and you need to do an interview with her, how she came up with this idea. The second thing that you need to do is to just like speak with, let's say, 10 content creators on LinkedIn, because whenever I'm commenting, like a part of me is dying. Like I'm literally hurting inside because it's like, bravo, Norbert, congratulations for your amazing success. I mean, I have no other ideas what to write. I know that I should be like commenting 10 times a day, but it's really, really, really cringe. And I mean, Taplio has an automated feature how to do this, and there is like a little bit of competition. So the thing that you need to do is to speak with 10 content creators. I mean, you can speak with me as well. So you know that you should be commenting. Yes, this is a yes. Okay, what is your biggest pain when it comes to commenting? Okay, I have no ideas and I don't want to do Norbert's school. Okay, what is the current solution that you use? Okay, sometimes I take like half an hour and I just cry inside and I write these freaking comments and I'm not feeling good about myself, or like I use some sort of automated tools in order to make this happen. So yeah, this is like what now, and then you would have to ask me what is my ideal solution? What would I like to have out of this solution? And I would say to you, okay, I don't want to sound like a robot. I want to have like the final say in what is going on or not, like that this is not being automated in my behalf without my knowledge. And maybe just like as a third element, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. We should talk privately right now, but this would be my ideal solution. Okay. And then in the next iteration, you think, here is like the list of, let's say, top 50 content creators or something like that. I will train my ChatGPT or whatever that is in order to just like try to engage with them, and I will measure the engagement, and then I will create like a little bit of case study how my profile grew if I would be doing this, if I would be like eating my own dog food. That I think would be the easiest way how to validate this, but there are solutions on the markets just like that. My problem is that I personally hate them. Maybe I'm your customer, maybe I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, okay, thank you. For sure. Yeah, talking to I don't know even if the solution is, or if what people want right now, if
Talk,
yeah.
Maja,
Yeah.
Nate Jamschek, you have like a bunch of big profiles, even like on a local market. Talk to us. What are our pain points? What do we hate the most about like existing solutions that we are using? And then think,
Right.
can you do it better? Can you do it 10x better for us? I would immediately buy it though, because commenting is a pain in the arse. And like literally, I like some people, I like engaging with some people, but just like when you send me on a big profile, it's like, bravo, Anthony Pieri, another great post in a row.
Yeah, that's why I can see that's I mean I remember that you mentioned it before, that's a problem, and even when I engage, it's a pain in the ass for myself.
Yeah, but you're good at it.
Okay, thank you. That's all for me.
Cool. My
I will
pleasure, Jure. Thank you so
definitely
much.
I will definitely talk to you in private as well.
Go, go, go. No, seriously, like I'm an open book. Like if you want me to rant for half an hour how much I hate LinkedIn commenting, it's my pleasure.
Great.
Yes, yes. Okay, cool. Gurav, you have like the final question and then we'll wrap it up. And I really, really, really want to hear your feedback. Like if you can just write it in the chat, because it's my first time doing this. I had no idea I want to anticipate. I didn't like really prepare for this, but I very much engaged like with you, and I hope that we had like a good exchange of thoughts. So Gurav, you're next, and then we need to have like a quick feedback session.
Got it. So Maya, one of the concerns or fears I have is that most of the consulting agreements is low ticket size, because positioning generally applies, at least for starting off, to
No,
let
the
me just
majority of
finish.
positioning deals that I have been facing is 10 to 30K. It's not a low ticket gig. It's definitely not a low ticket gig. Maybe you're having conversations with the wrong type of clients.
Right. So with let's say early stage explorative startups, they don't have much to pay, so it seems like you're going much higher up in terms of like Series A, Series B companies, looking at the tech market. So how are you seeing the size and the scale of some of these clients as a mental model?
Okay, cool. As a mental model, look, whatever is more expensive than 2 to 5% of their like yearly revenue, it's too expensive for them. I, as a business owner, I wouldn't invest in this myself. So whatever like you are targeting, it needs to have like at least, not saying 500,000, maybe 1 million or something like that. So that for me is a healthy client. And you wanna position people who are post-product market fit. This is important, because if they have not even indicated on the market that the market is like there and that people actually want this stuff, you have no business case here. So the lowest ticket that I would offer here is a workshop for like 2 or 3K in order to just like establish the grounds. But these positioning offers, like, believe me, I'm talking this from the practice, this can go like to 10K or 30K projects. So your foot in the door offer should not be like 500 euros or dollars or something like that. It should be just like expensive enough in order to filter out the clients that are not monetizable later on to retainers. Because if I say, Gurau, right now, okay, let's sit together on Saturday, I will pay you $200 and then we do this positioning exercise. You will have to prepare like for 10 hours onto this, but I will pay you $200, right? So not saying solve rich people's problem, but 2 to 5% is the level of expenses, is the level of revenue that most people are willing to pay for consultants. And then as a consultant, my favorite saying here is that you shouldn't be cheaper than a used car. So if you are not selling something like a package for at least like 10K or something like that, they don't take you seriously and you don't talk to the right type of decision makers. That's another fallacy of this. And you are there like maybe as their communication coach, like maybe as a trainer or something like that, but you're not their strategic partner. And I swear you won't be making like 30K in a year from this account. So this is what I would be framing towards. Of course, you can build your starting portfolio from startups or people that you can obtain at the moment, but then you should be like up marketing and just like make sure that you have a good consulting gig there.
Super valuable, Maya, and I'm sorry to ask you just an extension here, but if there is a bigger company, they already have positioning consultants inside them. Why would they come to you, right? So how do you figure that out in terms of like playing with their existing team or not?
Why? I mean, why? If they have a positioning experts inside that are successful, they don't have a problem. If they have a problem, I can come and fix it. I mean, I can give them external perspective, but believe me, most of the people do not have like in-house positioning experts into their companies. Usually that falls to either like CMOs or product managers. So I would build my network right there, because positioning, to what I comprehend in the business world, is not a standalone job option. It's something that we do like very campaign-wise. And I mean, it's a big expertise. And next week, like, I invite you to follow my content. Andrei Persholia, like my ex-mentee, and I will be talking about positioning a lot. We will have a Substack. We will have like additional framework. So I'm sure that this is like a good subject to just like explore. And if you want, like, you can even outreach to Andrei. He can give you a couple of other insights. But just like, the world is not what you think about it right now. You are a young dude, you have like your own ecosystem there, but if you speak and if you reach out to bigger businesses, you will find problems that you will solve. So Ashna, last question, and then I will have to eat the dinner because I'm literally starving. Like Frederick.
Yeah, don't want to keep you waiting on that. Just extending on that, what Gaurav asked, which is essentially like when you're doing like a GTM pitch, what kind of measurables are you kind of promising on that? I was curious about that.
Cool. So my work comes with a delay feedback loop. And that's always a pain in the arse, because we have to decide like what is the ICP, how to do the positioning and messaging, how to do pricing, and how to build the growth machine. And these are the 4 pillars of my work. And they need to have like a lot of leap of faith in order to even let me in their companies. For me to achieve that, I need to have good case studies. So I need to have hands-on experience into how to make this happen. And I'm recording Loom videos all the time. Like, I mean, I'm just like showing them like my Miro templates. I'm just like sending them like, okay, this is the client that could vouch for me, yada, yada. It's definitely not an easy sell. I mean, you could templatize it as like a checklist or something like that, but it takes several iterations. Not until recently were I even confident enough that I have seen like hundreds of companies going through the same patterns in order to have this confidence of building frameworks that I can guarantee that will work. And maybe this is my imposter syndrome, but nevertheless, I needed a lot of repetition in order to make this happen. But the good news is that you can solve a partial problem from them and build from that, such as Guraf said, like positioning, or such as, for example, Licia said, when it comes to like training and communication and management stuff, just find your way into the company and expand from there. Because once you know them, once you understand their pain points, it's so much easier to spread across the company. And that, like, for me, would be the best advice if you're not want to be like this template maker and opinion leader and whatnot in the GTM space, which I would support personally because I like it. But nevertheless, show one, publicize one case study that you have had, find 5 companies that have the same problem, build from that. And once you're in the company, stay there, work on this, solve them additional problems, and eventually you will be able to collect the whole scope.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. Cool. Okay, now guys, it's time for my feedback session, because we started with 11 people. Now we are 7. We had a little bit of churn. So how was it for you? Like, how did you feel? Did you get value from this? Was it worth your time? Should we do it again? What's up?
It was definitely worth the time. I think if there's going to be more people, it's going to be hard for you to manage everything. But for me, it was worth it for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
3 things, Maya. One is you just don't give tactical advice. It's also philosophical. And so people connect with you as a person as opposed to you, your work, right? So that's first. The second is there's a lot of vulnerability in the room, at least when I came in with Frederick's question. So that creates a safe space. And I think that's something you can, I believe you can continue to cultivate because these are the things you don't hear on LinkedIn clearly. And there's value in that. Third is and this is more my own point. It's great to see people who are more experienced like you who've made it, because in our world, so
You
there's a
mean older?
path. No. In terms of like, let's say 10K per client, let's say that. It's because there's a clear path for us to go to. So there is a space where you can be like that mentor, and at least my signal is this.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And it was amazingly structured. So you took a lot of notes on this call. I very much appreciate your brain must be a sponge. I was the same when I was you. So like you're definitely on a good path here. And I'm lucky to have you like in our community. I hope that we can like expand our collaboration beyond this. But thank you so much for showing up. Cool. Any other feedback that I should know before I go and have the dinner?
Well,
Yeah,
I'd like to add, I'm sorry, go ahead, Aishna.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'd just like to add on the safe space side, I'm a solo entrepreneur, so having everyone here besides you really helped to understand that these issues are something that everyone's going through. And as Gaurav mentioned, it's a safe space, and I can see the struggles and I can hear from everyone's struggles. So I think having the office hours in a model where everyone can talk, it's also really good.
Super.
Yeah, and
Would you, sorry, just a follow-up question and then I will go immediately. Would you prefer to just like have a breakthrough rooms and just like to meet everybody on the call, or is it a good format for you?
I think for me, yes, because I can see other people's expertises as well. So yeah, I think so.
Okay, super. For now, let's keep it. Sorry, Ashna, I was interrupting you.
not at all. Just adding on that, I haven't found enough communities online that talk about GTM in specific. Like they're more diversified, but not like this GTM space or how to get customers, how to go from 0 to 1. And that's also something that I found interesting with your content and with the space also.
Excellent. Maybe Guillaume, like the Lemnis founder, we just like, I have problems pronouncing his name, but I would say Mubesh, something like that. He has an excellent YouTube channel. And I think that he's preaching like the same type of science. So it's just like how to bootstrap, how to be a solo founder. I like the guy a lot. He's from France. Nevertheless, I like him. But yeah, I think this is like another good pocket of the content, which is more tactical and more real. I mean, it's just like more aligned with people.
Amazing. Sorry, I lost the name that you mentioned.
So it's my on LinkedIn, but it's like Guillaume Mubesh, or just like Guillaume and Lemlist, and you will find him on YouTube. He's very findable.
Nice. Thank you for that.
Sorry, I was trying my best with pronunciation of French name, but it never works. Okay, cool. If there is anything else that we need to say, that's okay. But nevertheless, sorry for being like a little bit late. Thank you for taking the time. I hope to see you again next week. If you want to just like serve me some private feedback, thank you, Re. Thank you. It's Mobesh. But nevertheless, yeah, I'm grateful for your company today. Thank you so much for being honest, for being here with me, and hope to see you again next week. And I wouldn't say invite a friend because that would sound like freaking Tupperware, but I hope that you found the value and that it was like a good use of your time. Take care. Cheers from Slovenia, and talk to you next week, I hope. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.